So what we're going to do, Siri, today is that we're going to discuss about software. So we have been learning how to use Unix in a basic way, some basic Unix commands, and then we learn how to log into the HPC system, the cluster, as we call it. So then we saw the difference between working on a computer in front of you, like a laptop, or a computer that is located somewhere else, but you connect through this SSH software, and then you ask this cluster to do your jobs. So the next thing that we need in order to do our work is software. Siri, what kind of software do you use usually on the HPC systems?
Yes, in my case, I used, when I was a PhD student, I was using C++ code and also Python code with particular libraries.
Okay. So before I show the lesson, so I would like to show this shared document that we will be using together to take some shared notes and ask questions. So in this document itself, if you have not already found the teaching material that we'll be talking about, so I have linked here the day 2 teaching material. And the first thing I'll be doing is this for module 14, the chapter 14 about the modules that we're going to talk about. So this is the link that I opened. I just want to mention that if I go into. So as a beginning, we asked our participants or fellow learners that what kind of software they usually expect or they use on the HPC systems. And then we see that we see like a library like PyTorch, which is like a Python library. Then they would the person who wrote it wanted the latest version, and then WASP, something like greater than 6.3 version, and NumD and Julia. Julia is it's very popular these days on HP systems as well. So in order to get these things moving and to know that, I see that there are 31 people online, and that, we get an idea that how to access the document. Please go to the edit mode and indicate here under the icebreaker, what kind of software that you need. This is also for us to know a little bit about your expectations, and also to for us to be sure that you have access to this document and people could edit it. So we'll start the discussion with this line, maybe the PyTorch latest and NAMD NAMD latest, and some people generally say Python. The thing with the HPC system is that it's a shared system. So we share it with all the other fellow users. So in that case, it's not always possible to get exactly what you want when you log in for the first time. For example, when I log in, I might need Python 3.11.6 with PyTorch 2.111. But when Siri logs in, maybe Siri wants Python 11.15 with NumPy 18.6, which is not compatible with the PyTorch version I want. So we can't mix all those things in one system where people share these things. So when you come with this kind of expectation management before you start, is that you may not find the software that you want, and it will not be at your disposal first time you log into Saga. So that's why we're going to talk about how to get this in your environment, or like how to access this software. The other thing is when people mention the latest, so the latest may not be the most suitable for the HP system we have. So you might have to adapt a little bit in order to use this software, that you might not see the latest version always. So we go through this process of installation. So the latest might not even install certain times, and also maybe it's not with the stable version. So you might have to adopt a little bit. I'm just giving you a kind of expectation management here. And then you have to take into mind that you might need something that's not there on the system that you could ask from us, can you please install this centrally for everybody? Or you could also use tactics like Python environments, Conda environments, containers. You could also use those things to get your software. Is there anything else you would like to add, Siri, about these software environments and before we jump into how to use this software?
No, I'm just curious. Yes.
Okay. So again, the material I'm going to jump in is the day 2 teaching material, the first one, the 14 about the modules. So I'll go to that lesson. So here what we're going to talk about is how to find the software, how to find that the software you want is there on the HPC system, and then how to access it. So the objective at the end would be to find out, how to find the software and how to make it accessible for your scripts. And then Siri, what we will do is that, because it's like a shared learning experience that we have, like, you and me, we can talk a little bit about the issues that we will ask our participant to follow us as well. So the commands where we try, they could try it out and then ask questions. So later on, you'll have a time for the exercise, but I will recommend the basics commands that we going to try it in the morning, try it with us. So in order to do that, I would recommend that log into Saga. As Mike can also mention, Mike can landed on login 5, I think, yesterday. So I landed on login 4. So it doesn't matter which login node that you'll be logging in. That's also the setup we have. Like whichever login node you log in, the software that you load, you'll do it in the same way. And also when you go to the compute nodes, that's the compute farm behind this login node where the actual calculation happens. There also you could use the same command. So it's a uniform environment that we are talking about. Later on, we'll go to the next level of uniformity when you go to AC. So that we'll talk a little bit later. So the setup that we have is trying to address certain issues: software compatibility, versions, and dependencies. So when somebody want a certain software and that person asks for a specific software, we make sure all the dependencies loaded behind the scenes, even without explicitly asking. So that's the advantage you get by using these systems. And then you might have conflicting software. For example, you might have compiled a certain software with a certain version of a compiler, and if you try to load it, if you try to run it in an environment where that compiler has been updated, you might see some errors. So that's one reason that we load everything as a package for you. So next time when you load that software, it loads as a package. So everything is there at your disposal when you log in. So this will be best described, Siri, that we'll try some commands together. So you have to help me a little bit. There might be typos, there might be some issues when you do live demos. So you could help me by making
Yes,
sure that I don't confuse people, especially. Like if an error happens, that's a good thing, because then we can learn from that. But if I type something wrong and if I go too forward, so we don't want to confuse anybody who's trying this for the first time. So then, so I'm on Saga. So I hope you're on Saga as well. Please log in, and I'll just check the shared document to see how the things are. Yeah. So here, okay. So there are certain questions that will come back to that later. But if you have specific questions about the commands we type, you can also ask in the shared documents. So the first thing I'm going to ask is, because people are very sort of interacting with Python these days a lot. So we will use the Python as an example. Python. I'm asking the version that it's been installed. So then I see that it's 3.9.14 is the version that we have installed. And then how does the terminal, how does it know that when I ask Python version, how does the computer or the terminal that we are using now, or the bash prompt, the system that you're using now, how does it find out this Python? Is through something called a path. So if you ask which Python is it looking for now, it is the Python that is installed in the user bin Python. So that is the Python that's installed on this login for node. So this node that we are in, the login node, that is the Python we have. Then I could ask another question like Python 3, what's the Python 3 version is. So that is the same thing. So this brings out the discussion about symlinking. So which means that whoever asks Python or Python 3, they will get the same Python on this login node. So because it's linked symbolically to make sure it's load the same thing. Then there's a command of which Python 3 as well. So then it's the same Python that's been linked to. This is found by using this path. So this is how it finds Python. So the way we tell the terminal that it should use that is defined in this variable called $path. So as you can see, there's this priority. So first it look here, then it look here, and then what does that say?
No, that wasn't me.
Okay.
Was it a question?
Yeah. So if you have any questions, please do ask in the collaborative document, and also our colleagues, if you have any input, please do speak up. Others, please keep the mic muted. And then it found the user bin Python here. Because I'm having difficulty locating that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the grep command that we found, we learned a little earlier to just to color it so I can easily see that which one it is. It will not load the exact Python, but it will load the path. As you can see in the red color, if you can see, they are defined as the 1, 2, 3, 4th place. So this is the trick. So whenever we want to load something or we want to use a different Python, the thing that we have to modify is this path variable. Right? So if you have any questions about this path variable, please do ask in the shared document, and also test it out on your computer. This exercise we are not going to do now. So we will discuss this a little bit later. But we'll go through this as a interactive session that you will also try the commands with me. And at the end, we will give you some time for the exercises. So then we come to the module environment that we will be talking about. So module environment is that to install everything upfront, like a lot of Python versions, lot of PyTorch versions, lot of GROMACS versions. Not a lot, I mean, a few that's commonly used. And then people can pick and select which ones to use. So that is the module environment. So when you log in for the first time, so you will see that there's maybe one module noded. You use the command module list. So this is a system called lmod. So this module list would list the modules, the currently loaded modules. So when I type module list and press enter, it loads a standard module. Apart from that, there's nothing loaded. So that's how it is when you log in. And unless you modified your bash RC file. Bash RC file is the file that define what loads when you log in for the first time. It should be look like this. And it should be made look like this to make it easier to debug. And also when there's an issue to ask questions from us, it's the best scenario is that you don't load any modules when you explicitly don't load it. Automatically behind the scene loading modules is not recommended. Module list should be like this.
Yeah, and one reason for that is like you might have forgotten that you loaded some modules as well.
That is very correct, Siri. Yes, yes. So if you are loaded and if you try to load something conflicting, it might be very, very problematic to debug. So then we have certain ways to find the modules. For example, you can use keywords like bio or chemistry. So what are the software that has been tagged with the keyword bio? So I had to warn you a little bit. When I type this one, it's going to print a lot of text, and my terminal will go over the all the way to the top. So when I press this, it's going to print a lot of things. So it went. So I'm going to scroll up and show a little bit, all the software that has been loaded, not loaded, sorry, that has been tagged with the tag bio, right? So that's one thing. So you could use chemistry, for example, here to find out what are the software we have. But if you want to list everything, so which this command I'm not going to press enter here, because it's going to print even more things. For example, asking what module all the software that we have. That's not something we can. It will not be informative for me to execute, but you can execute it and see, what the list looks like. So here we have shown part of the list for that. But a better way to look for this is that you give more context to it. Module avail, and then Python. You want to see what are the Python versions. That would be more concise and more informative list. So here you see that there are many software that has been tagged with Python, BioPython, and then Boost Python, and even there's this NetCDF version of it. But even if you're not looking for like everything that has Python in it, but maybe you just want to see what are the Python 3 versions that you have, you can be even more specific. And then you'll get the Python 395, 396, 310. So this is the kind of filtering that I usually, that I'll be more specific for about what I'm looking for. Otherwise, it will be too difficult. Do you use the same technique, Siri, or do you have any better way to find the software that you need?
Yeah, otherwise I would just have the list and then grab it, maybe.
Yes.
But that's basically the same thing, because you will only get the thing that matches.
Correct. So you could combine those Unix commands that you learned the last few days, and you could shorten this list and make it more informative and make it more concise if you need. Then what I would do is that I'm going to load the module which is Python 3.12.3. So if you remember, the Python version I have was 3.9.14, but I want this version. So the way to load that is that, the version I have on my computer, and to use a different version is to use the module command. Before that, I'll ask the system again to remind us, where the Python is loading from. Then I will load this command, module load. That is the prefix that we had used, and then Python that you had type the name exactly the way you want it, and then it might you can use the tab completion if you have only one matches that context of what you type. Then when you type that command, it's going to make some difference changes to the path, where you are. So before I show the path,
Ikke at jeg er antisocial, men jeg er i møte. Bare.
Espen, can you mute the participants' mic, please? So then the version that we have here is 3.9.4.14. So I'm going to ask the Python version now. So now it has turned into 3.12.3. So it has changed. And if I ask which Python it's been using, it's using not the user bin Python, but the cluster software Python, the Python that we installed. So this is the thing that we're going to use. We can change the Python version. This example is for Python, but for all the software, you can change this live. After you log in, you don't have to reboot or anything. You can change the software that you want to use, and then you can use it without disturbing anybody else. For example, if Siri is logged in, if I load Python 3.12.3, it's not going to change the version Siri has loaded. So Siri can work on our own environment with the own software without disturbing anybody else. And I could use the software I want and work without disturbing anybody else. So this is only for this session, which means that if you logged in to Saga in another terminal, the Python would still be 3.9.14. So this is only for this session that's been loaded. That is the perfect way to work on HPC, that you load the environments that need only for that session. For example, we'll see in a log script, the job script, that will load modules. Anything else you want to mention about this, Siri?
I don't know if we're going to come back to it, but if I need a software that is not in the list, what do I do then?
Yes. So in the not in the list is that two things that we can do. One thing is to ask the help. Can you have this installed? Then we have to see whether that's useful for more than one or two people. We don't want to centrally maintain if it's not being used for everybody else. Otherwise, you could install it on your local environment. For example, this module, some of the modules, you could install it on your user environment as well. So others will not see those modules. And also Python packages and the R packages, you could set up your own environment as well. So that's also supported, not only the central software that we have. So I'm going to issue this echo $path command again, Siri, to show the path now. So as you can see, earlier it was the user bin was in front, this one. Now the priority is given to this place. So by changing the priority in the path sequence, the shell that we are working on, or the terminal that we are working on, picked the first one it sees from the list. So that's how we managed to change the Python that we loaded. So if you want to see the path, you could see it here using this command. I'll just check is there anything that we have to discuss on the shared document, Siri?
Yeah, we'll have a look. Looks like everything
Good? Okay.
is okay. Yes.
So I'm going to list this software as a software by cluster software Python 3.12.3 bin to show what's in those in that folder, the command that we are listed here. You will see that there are different executables. If you ask Python 3, it will use Python 3.12, exactly that version, and these symlinks that I talked about earlier. This will show that it's whatever the way you load Python, it will, if you ask Python or Python 3 or Python 3.12, it will load the same version. So for the LH, you could use a flag called F, for example. If you use the F here, it will also list which ones are executable. So you see there are a lot of executables here. Then after you loaded that, if you use the module list command, if you remember that we tried earlier, that only one module was there, the standard environment, and we recommended that is the way you should keep your environments. And when you type now, you will see a lot of things. For example, you'll see the compiler that has been used. So there's no confusion of which compiler which should be used for these packages. So you'll avoid glibc errors. And then bzip2 and ncursors and SQLite, libf, OpenSSL, everything that is needed for this Python to work And also the libraries that you need to install additional Python packages from pip are loaded here. So it will not, when you do pip install numpy, it will not ask you, libraries missing. And when you search that on the internet, libraries missing, usually the result you get is like you have to install apt-get something, apt-get SSL. So that will not work on these systems. So to avoid that, we have set up this package together, so you'll not face issues like you have to install system level packages. Then let me check the shared document a little bit. Yeah, so this is like a standard variable on Unix that we use for the path. Also, even in Windows systems, you have this concept of path. How to find which keywords are available? So that's a good question. I will post that. It's not that obvious to get that all the keywords, but we'll post that a little later. Okay. Then let's say if you want another version of Python. So let's hear that the Python is, let's ask the Python version, we have 3.12, and then you need a different Python version. Let's say, do you have 13 something? No, let's say, okay, let's ask module level 3. Then I have 12.3. So which one was I'm using? 12.3. So let's see if I want 11.3, 10.4, for example. Then when I load that Python version 10.4, the first thing is that we don't load it like this. Now, because I have Python 3.1.2, but I want to load the Python like a different version, but I can't just issues like this. Do you know why that is, Sherry, that I shouldn't just load it?
Yeah, because it might need some different packages in the list you showed earlier, right? So there
Yes.
could be a different version of another package and also, yeah, even if it was adding this one to the front of the path, yeah, it's more likely that there is going to be some issues.
Correct. So if you remember, I used the hash in the front, not to execute it, just to block it for a while. Module list. So there's already something loaded. So we don't load on top of loaded modules unless they are compatible. So there are compatibilities that we can check. Because now if you see this module that I'm going to use, it's going to use the compiler 11.3, and I have used is 13.3. So it's not going to work. So before doing that, what I should do is do again, I use the hash not to execute it, module purge to clear it out. Then I ask module list again. Then it's become the clean environment again. And then I can load the module. I remove the hash in the front, so now it will load. Then if I ask module list, it will print those different set of modules that comes with the Python 3.10. And if I ask which Python, it will say 3.10. So we load and unload modules. You could also mix the modules, but you have to make sure those compilers and it's compatible with what you're going to mix.
Yeah, can you show what happens when you mix something that doesn't match?
Yeah, so I could try to load the earlier Python again. The 3, what was that?
Yeah, because it's not really dangerous as long as you know the purge. But yeah.
Yes, you're correct. But if you try to load it, it will print messages like this. Elmode has detected the following error. Your site prevents the automatic swapping of modules with the same name. You must explicitly unload the module, this version before I can load it. So it gives you a warning. So not to do it. So it kept what was there. It didn't go through with the loading. So if it's compatible, it will let you load. And then module unload, I don't recommend this module unload command that much unless you want to specifically unload modules. So this is to specifically unload one of these modules, for example, the last one or that causes more issues than it's actually solves. So do the module purge. Yes, so then we have the tool chains that we were slightly described a little bit before. So if you ask module avail Python, how are you on time, Siri?
You have, let's see, 20 more minutes for this, and then we will have an exercise.
So then you see that this compiler, we call them tool chains. So this FOSS 2021A, which means that free and open source software, the 2021A version. So this comes with the compilers and Fourier transform libraries and everything that's needed, MPIs, maybe not the Fourier transforms, the MPIs and the other modules that you needed for this package to work. Here it's a more stripped down version. So this one comes with only the compiler. So may not be you might not get the MPI with that. So this is the tool chain. So when you load mix software, you have to make sure that they are compatible. For example, this one, which is 2021A, and this one, first 2021A, you could mix these two, BioPython and the NetCDF if you want, because they are compatible. So in a script, what you do is when you want to execute a script, the job script we learned yesterday, before you call here's the Python version, but usually it will be a Python and your script that you'll be loading. Before you loading that, you have to make sure that these two things are included. So which means that you clean the environment, whatever loaded on the terminal, and then you load explicitly what you need. Then afterwards, if you had installed some pip when Python environment yourself, then after loading this, you should activate it here. So that is the job script, and then you'll use sbatch to start it.